Good afternoon. I'm Debbie Leone with Ask Coach Debbie Live. So I decided to kind of change the format of these live sessions to answering questions. I will be answering at least one practical question and then one spiritual question. So today's practical question is, so my work environment is incredibly negative. My colleagues, the other employees and staff, they're just so negative, and the energy, I just don't want to go to work because there's so much, it's a bummer. How do I deal with this? Because it affects me. So if you can identify with this, you need to listen to a few of the tips that I have to share, because this is pretty common. A lot of people come to me and they share how affected they get by their work environment. And so it's important to know that you don't have to be victimized over it, even though there is negative energy around. So first, the first step or the first tip is to notice how you are allowing yourself to be affected by your work environment. And I know it's difficult because when there's negative energy, as human beings, we are affected by energy. But the good news is that you get to choose how much you are going to be affected by it. So the first tip is to notice how you're allowing yourself to be affected by it and how you are showing up at work because of it. So you get to consider, what am I doing or not doing that's aiding, that's helping that negative energy? Am I taking it on and shutting down, or blaming or shaming? Or, so the first step is noticing, how am I showing up at work that's either supporting this negative energy or not? Because if you're not aware of that, how are you going to change anything? The second tip is to choose to take responsibility for the power that you have to change your environment. Too many of us feel like, this is the way it is. The other people are like this, so I've just got to accept it. But that's not true. Each of you have an opportunity to step into your ability to lead and to change your environment. I've said the quote so many times, Gandhi's quote, to be the change you wish to see, to see in the world. So to take 100% responsibility means that you get to look at what you can do different. So perhaps that some of those things that you can do different are to, before you go into work, just set a daily intention as to how you're going to show up, or what quality you can most display to shift the energy. Perhaps it's looking at how you can engage people at work more to lighten it up. Perhaps you can have a daily act of kindness towards somebody at work, particularly somebody at work that you most get plugged into, that you feel is the most negative. So my message is that if you really allow yourself to take responsibility for how you are being, and then what you can do different, that's the first step in changing the energy in the environment. The third thing is, so everything that happens in our life, whether it's a conflict at work or negative energy, it's an opportunity to either keep you stuck and engaged in that negativity, or move you forward into something different. And that takes guts, it takes fearlessness. So my suggestion or tip to you is, when you're noticing this negativity at your work, ask yourself, how can I use this energy? Because it's just energy that you get to use and shift into something for the highest good. So how can I use this negative energy to motivate me and propel me into who I truly want to be and the environment I want to change? So again, these negative people that are showing up in your work environment are there to teach you something that you, to me, when I'm around negative people, I look at them and see and notice, I thank them for being a teacher to show me my negativity so that I can move out of it and shift it into something that's healthy and serving. So I hope those tips helped you. And if you deal with negativity in your work environment, then try this and let me know how it goes. Hi, everybody that's here. Hi, Christy. The second question is the spiritual question. And people ask me this all the time. They ask me, should I pray or should I meditate? And so where I first start with this conversation is to help people understand what the difference is. So consider your relationships, your family, your friends. So just consider one relationship that you're in. And I want you to really notice in that relationship, are you doing most of the talking or are you doing most of the listening? Because this is the way we show up with God as source as well. So in other words, prayer is when we're asking. It's when we're doing the speaking. It's a prayer of supplication or a prayer of gratitude, or sometimes a prayer of begging, a prayer of forgiveness. So we're doing the talking, and that's good. That's not, that's needed because it supports us in our spiritual life. But typically when we're praying, we're not listening. And that's what meditation is. That's the difference. Both, to me, are needed. So if someone asks me, should I pray or meditate? I say do both. Because that's a relationship. You're not in any relationships where you're only listening. And you're not in the relationships where you're only talking. Well, I'm assuming you're not. You might be. So to consider incorporating, if you haven't already, meditation in your spiritual practice, because if we're not listening to that still small voice, how can we gain any spiritual insight, right? And again, to use this, your relationship with God is always reflected in your relationship with others. So you can start by really being aware of your human relationships and how you can become more meditative and listen more versus giving your opinion, telling them what to do, making suggestions, trying to fix, or just simply sharing. None of that is wrong, but to stop yourself and see if you can bring more focus on listening. And the way to do that is by practicing in your relationships, but also having a regular practice, even if it's for 5 minutes every day, of simply listening, because there's so much wisdom out there. It's available to you 24/7. So prayer and meditation, two are different, and they both work hand in hand to allow you to be most connected and have that deep relationship with God, source, whatever you refer to. And if you need any support around meditation, I've been meditating for over 30 years and teaching meditation, and it has absolutely changed my life. I can't imagine my life without it. So I hope these two questions helped. If you have any suggestions or questions for me, I will be more than happy to answer them next week or in the following weeks. And particularly around meditation, if any of you really want to explore meditation, go to my website and sign up, and I offer you a free guided relaxation meditation that I created. So I think that's it for today. Anybody have any questions? Hi, everybody. Good to see you guys. If you have any questions, comments, please let me know how you like this format, and I will see you next Wednesday. Namaste.